Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm your host, Shakey, my lovely husband.
JV. And these are the adventures of JV and Shakey.
We would like to share with you guys today
Make sure you're talking to your mic.
about sickness and health.
That's funny.
I'm gonna hold this mic like an old school song where they be singing like, yeah. That's all I want to do with this. We're gonna talk about in sickness and in health.
Yes.
We're gonna go back to 2018 when we had a 2-year-old. I was 6 months pregnant, normal pregnancy. Everything was
Gucci.
going good. One night I wake up and I'm bleeding and our lives changed.
Don't touch that because it's going to have those bumps in the... Yeah.
New podcaster. Thank y'all for your patience and understanding.
They've had a coach in here. Coach you out. Hey. Run the plays.
And I woke up, I was bleeding. And we always say we don't remember what was going on the day before.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know what we went to bed concerned about, worried about, looking forward to. I don't know what happened before that. I don't know. None of that mattered.
None of that mattered.
I'm 6 months pregnant and bleeding. And I guess, yeah. So we
immediately went to the emergency room.
Yes. And I guess I want to say a disclaimer is that our daughter was born and she's here today healthy. Because this is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And so disclaimer that this is ending in God's glory. And so yes, went to the emergency room. And what was it? I had a fibroid.
Yeah.
I had a fibroid that caused the placenta to detach, and that was causing the bleeding. And so we're at the hospital in the emergency room, and I'll never forget your reaction when the doctor came back after I've been there for a couple hours and the bleeding wouldn't stop. Our 2-year-old's with his grandma, and they say, well, we got to have this baby. And you were just like, right now?
I was like, today? Like, right now? 6 months? Like, yeah. right now?
That was shocking because you're not ready. And so, yeah, so the baby, our daughter was born 3 months early, just under 3 pounds. And she spent 3 months in the NICU.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, about a week before she was supposed to come home, we found out she needed surgery on her stomach for neck. The abbreviations, neck.
Like necrotitis, like eating, like flesh eating stuff in her intestines.
Yeah, so she had surgery on her intestines, and the doctor was amazing. We believe he was a Christian. He asked to pray with us, and that went well.
So mind you, that's just going to be a whole nother episode, just the entire sequence of that experience at the hospital, because it was so much that God did, but that's not the purpose of the episode, so that's why we not going into it. But yeah, it was a lot of God was showing out.
Yes. So at this time, we are about 30 minutes from our home. So we're in another town. Excuse me. We're blessed to be able to stay at the Ronald McDonald House. So we're staying there. It's literally a house with a bunch of rooms. If you never heard of it, and there's a bunch of rooms, and you get to use like your key card, kind of like a hotel.
Yeah.
Inside you have a bathroom, but then when you're in the house, there's 2 community kitchens, pantries, a huge
giant
playroom,
mm-hmm.
couches. There's a TV. They got
unlimited food.
Yeah, there was a park that we could walk by.
Pizza Hut every Tuesday.
Yeah, there were restaurants that would donate food there.
Panera
so
bread.
anyone, if any of your children in the hospital for whatever reason, you're able to stay there. And so we were blessed to do that. So within those 3 months, I was with our 2-year-old during the day when JV was off work. Then I would go to the hospital and be there all night until morning with our daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember the nurses would say things like, "Oh, wow, you have another child. Like, when do you sleep? Oh my goodness, how do you do this?" And it would always just hit me for a second, like, oh my goodness, they're right. Like, how am I doing this? Like, this is crazy.
Red line.
I can't tell you what I was eating back then, what my sleep schedule was. I mean, when I think about food, I think about the random snacks that they had, granola bars, crackers, and definitely coffee.
And pizza.
And the pizza when the pizza was there.
Tearing your stomach up.
And so that just took a toll. I was not worrying about my health, my sleep, my nutrients, my food. And so when we were finally home a few months later.
And mind you, this is like you go through this grueling 3 months of being in a hospital, not knowing if your baby's going to be alive, right? Surgery before the baby's even supposed to be born. We find out that our daughter had torticollis, right? Which means like her neck is stuck like a certain way. So now she has to come home and she has to have physical therapy. She's her intestines have to heal and go back to the way. So I have to do this stuff where I have to help her poop, which it's like when we came home, it's like it wasn't over. Like it was like this experience and this hardship is over. It's like, no, it's like now we just don't have a bunch of doctors with us helping us do this or coaching us through it. It's like now we're going through this thing, and it was just, so the stress was still there. It was still like a bunch of stress, a bunch of like strain after that when we came home that continued to happen when she came home. So it wasn't like she came home, was able to just let her hair down. So she just came out of this grueling 3 months of like 18-hour shifts of living life, and then we are home now.
Yes. And through the midst of all this, I never think, how am I? How do I feel? Am I okay? Am I getting rest? Do I need to, let me think about what I've been eating. Never thought that way, especially when I'm caring for
everything was the baby,
a newborn, right? Yeah. So what I believe happened is my body was shutting down. Mm-hmm. So I remember clearly being at the car wash. I was about to go to the gym, and I went and stopped by the car wash to wash it. And I was vacuuming out the car, and I just felt so fatigued. And it was warm outside. So I thought, man, this sun is really draining me. Mm-hmm. Like, it is really taking my energy. But I felt so fatigued. And that was the first sign. So the fatigue came first, then the night sweats. So I would wake up in the middle of the night drenched in sweat, as if
literally just jumped in the pool. Literally had to change her clothes maybe like twice a night.
Yes, I would wake up drenched in sweat, but I would be freezing. I was so cold. It was so hard to even get up to change because I was so cold. And
you would be shaking so hard that I would like wake up in the middle of the night, and I was just like, it freaked me out. Like even talking about it right now is hard, because it's just like that was real. Like I'm just like, it's not normal. It's not normal for somebody to be sweating through their clothes twice every night and shaking so hard that I'm waking up.
Yes. I had swollen lymph nodes on my neck where you can clearly see it. I would just have to show my collarbone, and people at our church would clearly be able to see that my lymph nodes were swollen. There were times I remember being in the kitchen and just cooking, and just the sweat, just my body was sweating. The sweat just going down my back. And Dr. Google, I got on Dr. Google.
No, I'm about to start crying. Like,
oh my gosh, honey.
Yeah, it's like it was real. That was a hard, like, that was crazy to see you going through that. Like, that was.
I know. I'm trying to. I almost cried just a few minutes ago. I'm trying to. Yeah. We got tissue.
Yeah.
You need some tissue?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Real life. See, now you're gonna make me cry. So
cutting vegetables.
Dr. Google.
Yeah.
I made an appointment with my Dr. Google. And basically when I looked up the symptoms, it was saying cancer, lymphoma. And so that was scary. You know, that didn't help. That added to the stress, which is not good to just, you know, go straight to Google and just be like, yep, this is what it is. But because my symptoms wasn't, oh, my stomach hurts, oh, I got a sore throat, and then you look up throat cancer, right? But because they were so
it was like you knocking off like 80% of the list, like 90% of the symptoms. It was like, oh snap, like
yeah. So went to and after when I came home, now I look back when I came home with our newborn, fresh out the NICU, surgery, all those things that we mentioned. Oh, I'm so sorry. We're going to get it together. But all those things that I mentioned. So while we were at the Ronald McDonald House and she was in the NICU, I had a new understanding of the scripture, my grace is sufficient.
Yeah.
Because we had such a peace and we were filled with faith, and we didn't know what was going to happen, but we just were filled with faith and filled with this
no
peace.
Fear.
There was no fear. I mean, there was, you know, there's concern. Yeah. Right. But we just had, his grace was sufficient.
Peace. Yeah. It had peace.
So when I came home, that's when I felt, or that's when I can look back now and say, man, when I came home, I had postpartum anxiety. And I've never heard anyone talk about postpartum anxiety. I always hear postpartum depression, but I had a lot of anxiety, right? Is she breathing? Is she okay? She's not hooked up to a heart machine anymore, and it would beat when her heart was slowing down. Mm-hmm. We don't have that now. Is she still up? Is she okay? Is she breathing? She can't poop. Is she okay? Many, many things. And so that was stress. You know, that's the emotional stress along with the lack of sleep and bad diet. So looked up those symptoms. It looked like this is what it is. My mom encouraged me to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. We went there, crazy spray to numb me and a huge tube going in my nose and my throat. And he didn't like what it looked like.
Man, I'm telling you, that doctor's face looked like pure fear. I was like, that made me be like, oh, snap.
And I didn't see his face because I was just like being still so he can move the tube.
Yeah, like when he was looking, he just like, I could tell in his face, like, this ain't good. Like, he was just like, yeah, this is cancer, you know?
So because I already spoke to Dr. Google, when he started asking me certain questions, I knew he was saying, I think you have lymphoma. I think you have cancer. Have you been scratched by a cat? Because those are some of the causes. And just these other questions at the time. So, yeah, just, you know, after that, setting up an appointment to have a biopsy. I believe it was about a month out or a month and a half
away.
Month and a half out. So within that time, obviously there are tears, There is crying.
Mm-hmm.
There, it just felt like death, right? Death is always around the corner, but it felt like death down the street.
It's like thinking about things you don't even think about thinking about. Like, it's just like thoughts like, yo, like I remember having a discussion with her one night, and it was in the midst of, at that same time I was going through my own stuff with like dealing with my own passions and my music, and feeling like God was telling me not to do that no more. And then like that was tough, you know. And then my wife got sick, and I just remember telling her, I was like, I just feel like God just keep trying to take everything I love, and just thinking about like being a single dad. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I got a son, I got a daughter with special needs. Like, I'm about to be a single dad out here. Like, this is.
She had special needs at that moment.
Yeah.
Right now, she doesn't have any special needs. And you look at her and you have no idea that she was born early.
Yeah. So it's like, man, I have a daughter with special needs. And I have a son that is not even, he's about to be 3 years old. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy.
Or, yeah, at that time, he was 3.
Yeah, it's like, this is crazy for me to have to just think about and try and process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it was hard. We was talking about like remarriage and just different stuff you don't even think about talking about. But yeah, that was tough. But she came across.
Yes, a lady at our old church told me about this YouTube channel, but it's also a website, Chris Beat Cancer, on YouTube, or chrisbeatcancer.com, or his books on Amazon. But that was so amazing to come across, and being able to learn about eating plant-based foods, eating healthy, basically cutting out the sugar and the caffeine at that time. And it was just, his way of eating is plant-based, and that's not how we're eating today, just strictly plant-based. We have plant-based meals sometimes, but at that time when I came across his YouTube, he has a huge library of testimonies of people who had all types of cancer.
Talk about build that faith up.
All types of cancer. And he's a Christian.
Yeah.
He's a Christian, so he'll include how when he had cancer, he would pray, and it was so beautiful. But his YouTube channel was extremely helpful. So what I begin to do is just eat plant-based. I mainly would juice vegetables, carrots, a lot of carrots and celery and beets, ginger, and I would make a lot of smoothies, berries with coconut milk and bananas and kale for a long time, or for that month and a half.
Oh yeah, then after that,
I did it for a very long time.
Yeah.
But yes, I ate plant-based. We ate plant-based as a
until
family.
COVID.
Yeah. So for about a year and a half, about a year and a half, we ate plant-based. COVID happened. It was like, just get whatever's on the shelf, honey. I was like, what's there? Get the corn dogs. And because of the food that God made, like that always is so crazy. The food that God made literally helped my immune system. It helped my body fight off this sickness. Mm-hmm. It began to heal me. Yeah. And I lost weight because for me, I was just doing the juice and the smoothies. And then I slowly began to do raw vegan meals. And some people thought I was losing weight because they knew I was sick. And I'm like, no, like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. It's because of how I'm eating. And they're like, oh my goodness. But anyways, it was a miracle and God's grace, because I left that appointment and he's like, this might be cancer. Here's where you're going to come in, and we're going to stick a needle all in your neck, get a biopsy. That was about a month and a half of me eating that way. And I was going outside and getting sunlight. I was drinking more water. I was thinking about stress, like I feel right now in this mic. I keep hitting on the table. And I would deal with stress and pray and sunlight and confess sin.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Our pastor prayed over me.
That's in James.
So I had to think about that. Like, how do I feel as a stay-at-home mom around the kids? Like, my stress levels. I need to deal with this. I need to get out the house. I would sit on the porch and just get sunlight when they used to take naps and relax. And so when it came time for that appointment, and I changed, get the gown on, and I'm laying in the room, and it's about to happen. And and they couldn't find it. They could not find the swollen lymph nodes. One doctor was trying to find it. He had to go get another doctor and be like, this crazy. And then he had to go and look at my x-rays because I had an MRI. I had an MRI showing like, okay, here's where it is. And he's like, it ain't on there. And I called you because JV was in the hospital waiting, and I called and I was like, I'm done. And he thought that was quick.
Yeah, because we had a friend in another part of the hospital. That's where I was at. I was visiting them.
And you thought, man, that was fast.
Yeah.
But when I seen you, I was like, they didn't do it. Like, they couldn't find it.
Talk about praise. That was crazy.
Let's go.
Praise his name.
Oh, that was... I mean, going through...
Was that the same time? Did you get your medical records that time?
Mm-mm.
All right. No. It was that last thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Going through that hardship, like I said, I've learned his grace is sufficient. I learned that he is a healer.
For sure. For sure.
He is a healer, and that I learned that doctor reports truly don't matter to him. Like, it was all facts. It was facts that I had these symptoms. It was, you read it and it's like, yes, she has cancer. They never got to confirm it because it was gone, the swollen lymph nodes. But according to my symptoms and what he saw in my throat, they thought that it was, but none of that mattered to God, right?
Yeah, it's like, read that Genesis, man. God tell you, like, from the beginning that he was eating fruits, vegetables, nuts. Those plants was what was given to us. And it's like, and going back to that process of doing what God originally gave to us, that allowed her body to operate at a higher level to heal itself. Like, so it was just like, we was on it as a family. As a family, we got it in with the vegan
3-year-old, 4-year-old.
Yeah, it's just like that was a part of it too. Just all of us had to do it. It's just like, we going in together as a team, going on this journey with her to do that. And it's just like, I love meat. Like, I love burgers and all that stuff, but it's just like we found all these substitutes, and that was great. I felt great. All those things, and man, just seeing God make it through that was awesome. And prior to this, right, my wife, this was the second C-section she had, right, with our daughter. So it was like she had the fibroid. Our first child was a C-section. And then you had this traumatic second baby, right? It's like at this point, it's like, I'm good on kids. I'm good, super good. But it's like after this sickness, right? Like prior to this. On top
of that, the postpartum anxiety where I just felt extremely overwhelmed.
Yeah. So it's like prior to this, it's just like, we done on kids. That's not even an option. But after coming through that trial, it's like, she surprised me. She was like, I want to have another kid. Like, I'm living.
Yes. I was like, I'm alive. Like, God has made my body to be able to carry children. And it was just something that was so easy for us. Every time we said, all right, let's have another baby. Both times, it was just like, boom, you're pregnant.
Yeah. So, man, it's just like God, the change of perspective, right? It was just like having this perspective of like, no, I don't want no kids. I had to go through this, that. But it's just like after being like looking at the Reaper, it's like, whoa, like I'm still alive. I still can live my life. I still can do these things. And it's like, and for me as a husband, it definitely helped me to love my wife more because I'm like, yo, like she could have been gone. She could have been dead. I could have been a single parent. To this day, like you just think I was just crying earlier. Like
Disney movie, any movie
where
nowadays these movies got the moms dying.
Yeah, they got the hit on the moms. It was like take her out. But yeah,
They'll cry.
Yeah, I'll be crying automatically. Over the Moon, all those movies that like I'm automatically crying because I just resonate with like, dang man, like that could have been me. Like that could have been me, like with just no wife. I wouldn't have my last daughter, right? I wouldn't have that daughter. I wouldn't have like it's just my life right now. All the things that God is doing in our life right now with us as a team in a unit, like none of this would be happening. Like if she passed away, and it's just like I just look back and think about how grateful I am, that she is alive. It's just like my love for her has magnified. The way I treat her is magnified. The way I communicate, how frequently I communicate that has magnified.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess we can jump to, like we said, I was like, I'm alive, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
We can have another baby. By God's grace, we did do that.
Yeah.
We did that. And so
did that.
So 2020, have our daughter, our third baby, and maybe about 2 days after she was born, my legs got swollen. Mm-hmm. And this pregnancy was a healthy one as well. There were no complications. It was, during just COVID. Regular. It was just regular. And so 2 days after we came home, my legs got really swollen. So I laid down, elevated them, but then my heart felt weird. I'm like, is there like pressure on my heart? I don't know. But I was, I went back to Dr. Google. Don't do that all the time. I don't recommend that. But I went to Dr. Google and it was talking about heart failure. And I can't remember what it's called for women who have just given birth. And man, it's on the tip of my tongue. But it was heart failure. And so now I'm like, I need to go to the ER. Like, I need to go. And I get there somehow. Did I drive?
You just drove there. You only had one car.
Yeah, and you had to stay, obviously, with the newborn and our 2 other children. So when I got seen, also I just kept getting bigger. Mm-hmm. So I was like 197. And when I was pregnant, I don't even know what I was. I have no idea. But I'm 5'3", and I just kept getting bigger. And
197, that's crazy.
And the baby was no longer in my stomach.
She's like 130 something, just to give you reference.
And so the doctor, it was like midnight, I don't know, 11 at night, maybe 10 at night. In the ER, the doctor comes back after doing, different tests. I think I did a CT scan. The dude that I was pregnant, he was like, are you sure you can have this done? I'm like, I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
And she came back and said the heart failure. Well, I forget what it's called, but what I seen online. And I'm like, so what can be done? And I just remember her saying, well, we would treat you like a 70-year-old man with heart failure. And once again, it's just like death.
Yeah, I'm just like, she gave me that phone call. I'm like, what are you saying right now? Like,
yeah, you sounded very sober and like, what? I ain't playing games. You was like, what can be done? I'll never forget it. You was like, what can be done? And so I ended up staying overnight, and they were monitoring my heart. I was supposed to see the cardiologist, but I never did.
You called your brother?
Yeah, called my brother.
He went with it.
Yeah, he helped me.
He came to the hospital.
Called your aunt. She called me. She was praying. She was like, "Touch your heart, baby. We about to pray the heavens down."
She do not sound country like that. She from Hawaii, like.
Well, do a Puerto Rican accent.
She's got an island accent.
Oh.
I'm not gonna do it. I just had to let y'all know she don't sound like that at all.
She was like, "So touch your heart. We about to pray the heavens
She's
down."
She's not from Jamaica either. Let's just move on. That y'all sloppy.
So then I had a nurse come in there, and she was like, "Girl, you better go home and get out this hospital. You hear these people in here coughing?" And I was like, "Oh dear." Like,
mind you, COVID.
But that was a good, like, she kind of shook me, like, and woke me back up, like, "Hey, you need to get out of here. You need to be walking. You just had a C-section. You don't want to just lay in this bed." And it kind of just reminded me, like, yes, okay, health, like, everything about our body, exercise, nutrition, all that is never ends. Like, this is what we should continually be evaluating. Like, how am I doing? How's my health? What have I been eating? And so I left there, and I just made an appointment with my OB/GYN. And that took maybe a week to see. But I remember my prayer was, "Lord, change this doctor report."
Yeah.
Please, God, change this doctor report.
So funny.
So I go back home, and
not the prayer.
So I go back home, and I'm like, I got heart failure. Like, I am nervous. I got information on our fridge for our son to call 911 if I just pass out, if something happens. Like, because I stay home with the kids, you go to work, all of that. My brother took me to the gym. He was like, "I don't think you have heart failure. I'm looking at you. You're fine." And I'm like, "I got it." But I went to walk on the treadmill in flip-flops because my legs and feet are so swollen. And I'm just scared. I'm scared to, break a sweat because I'm like, my heart. So finally made it to the OB/GYN like a week later, and sure enough, she came in. Oh, and I got my medical records, so I was already looking over them.
Oh yeah, she was literally in
I was
there.
looking over those before that appointment.
Yeah, she went through her medical records, looking up on Google with stuff, man. Like,
yes,
she was like, "I care about my life.
Yes,
I really care about it."
Yes, because doctors are amazing. God has blessed them with the knowledge that they have, but they are human, and they are not God. You know,
not God.
And so she came in really confident, like, "You don't have heart failure. You have something preeclampsia." It was preeclampsia after giving birth.
Postpartum preeclampsia.
Yes, which was so mind-blowing because, again, this pregnancy, I had no issues, no high blood pressure, nothing was wrong. And so she was just really confident, like, "No," and I just kept saying, like, "Are you sure though?" And I was referring back to our medical notes and referring, and like, "Yeah, we talking medical up in here." Like,
yeah.
She was like, "Oh dear, okay." And then God just reminded me, like, "Didn't you ask me?" Oh, I'm about to cry. But God was like, "Didn't you ask me to change that doctor's report?" And it changed to postpartum preeclampsia, where all I had to do was take diuretic pills to just pee out all the water that I was retaining. And she said, "Don't have any salt." And I just drank a bunch of water, took those pills, and over the next, 4 to 5 days, I was fine. And talk about heart failure. I have competed in powerlifting competitions.
And one champion, best lifter.
I usually work out 5 days a week. Like,
holla at your girl.
Amazing. Literally, God, please change your support. I did it again. I hit the table where the mic is. I'm like, God, please change this doctor's report. Not saying just make it preeclampsia. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? When we're praying, it's just like, we're going to pray this, and I'm praying it by faith. And I can't explain how this is going to happen, but God, you're going to make it make sense, and you're going to make it happen. Or it don't make sense, and then that's a miracle, right?
Yeah.
And so that was just another moment of sickness and in health, right? Where we thought heart failure, and the report literally changed. Again, it just gave me gratefulness for life. Gratefulness for life.
Yeah, I'm grateful for wife. Yeah, grateful for life, grateful for wife. Because I'm like, man, like that. Yeah, but it definitely has changed my perspective on like how much I love her. Like, you know, it's just like, man, like a lot of people don't get that opportunity to think that deep on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, God put us in a unique situation where I had to think like, what is life without this person? How much value does this person bring to your life? How much do you really love this person? You know, and it didn't have to be divorce. It didn't have to be, it was like death that's permanent. There is no reconciliation after that. Like divorce, there could possibly be a reconciliation after that, but death, that's it. Like that person is gone. So man, being able to have that unique opportunity to process and reevaluate how you treat somebody and how you want to spend the rest of your life with that person. You know, that I praise God for that. I praise God for that opportunity to be able to do that. And then like what was it that next year I made that song for you. Made a song. It was just like talking about like all that, you know what I mean? Pretty much that whole scenario that we had to go through. And man, it's just like, it was called Curtain Call, but it's just saying like, man, like you the one person that I'm gonna be with till Jesus come back, you know? So yeah, for anybody out there, if you're, you know, you're going through it in your marriage, or you haven't thought about that, man, like this person is somebody that God is giving you for life. He's given to you for your betterment, your better half, you know, and appreciate that person, love that person, tell that person that you love them, tell that person, show that person that you love them, because you don't know. Like I was just like, my wife woke up one night bleeding. Like I didn't know that was about to happen. Like, I didn't know that baby was about to come. I didn't know that her body was just going to start to degrade after we got home. I didn't know that after she had the baby, I didn't know none of that. So it was just, I just woke up. It just happened. You know what I mean? So that's just what life is like. So it's like, we got to take advantage of every opportunity to love one another.
Yes, I agree. Whew, just thankful for life. And I hope you can be encouraged in whatever way you can be encouraged, believing for your health to get better, be encouraged to take your health, take ownership of your health. It doesn't matter what doctors say. It doesn't matter if they're trying to prescribe you this. We get to do our own research. I joke with Dr. Google, but we get to do our own research on ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we get to choose what we put in our bodies, mm-hmm. and we can see how it affects us, and we can heal from God's food that he put on this earth. So, I hope this was some type of encouragement in whatever way. And till next time,
we're gonna holla at y'all. We out here. Love y'all.